So today I will teach you how to think correctly, because the right mindset can turn your failures into fuel, your dreams into plans, and your plans into reality. The power of perspective. There is a simple truth about life that many people overlook. It is not what happens to you that defines your life. It is how you see what happens to you. Your perspective is like a pair of glasses through which you view the world. Two people can face the same situation: losing a job, failing an exam, being rejected by someone they care about, and yet have completely different outcomes in life. Why? Because one sees the experience as a sign of doom, while the other sees it as a stepping stone to something better. Perspective is powerful because it controls the meaning you attach to events, and the meaning you give shapes the action you take. If you believe a setback is permanent, you stop trying. But if you see it as temporary, as a lesson, as a chance to grow, you keep moving forward. And when you keep moving forward, eventually the road opens up. Life is rarely about the event itself. It is about the story you tell yourself about the event. Think about this: a rainy day can ruin someone's mood completely. They complain, "Why does it always rain when I want to go out?" Yet another person looks at the same rain and says, "This is exactly what the farmers need for their crops. This rain will bring fresh air and a cool evening." The weather did not change. The difference was in how they saw it. And this difference in seeing eventually creates a difference in living. The same applies to bigger moments in life. Someone loses their job and sees it as the end of their career, falling into depression, feeling worthless. Another person loses the same job and says, "Maybe this is life pushing me towards something I have been afraid to try. Maybe this is my chance to start that business, learn a new skill, or explore a passion." One sees disaster, the other sees direction. And often, it is the second person who ends up creating a better future. Not because the situation was easier, but because their perspective gave them strength when they needed it most. Perspective is also what turns ordinary people into problem solvers. Some people see problems and stop. Others see problems and start thinking differently. What if I can fix this? What if there's another way? What if this challenge is not blocking me but guiding me? When you think like this, your brain starts finding solutions that others can't see because they're too busy complaining. And here's the truth: the world doesn't give its best opportunities to the smartest or the richest people. It gives them to those who refuse to be blinded by negativity. People who see possibilities where others see dead ends are the ones who rise above the rest. They do not deny reality. They simply choose to view it through a lens of hope, learning, and possibility. Changing your perspective is like changing the direction of your life. The situation may be the same, but your mind becomes stronger, calmer, and more creative when you decide to see things differently. And when your mind is strong, your actions become powerful. And powerful actions always lead to a powerful life. One of the biggest reasons people never reach their full potential is because they misunderstand failure. From a very young age, we are taught to avoid mistakes at all costs. We grow up believing that failure is a sign of weakness, that it means we are not good enough, not smart enough, not talented enough. But here is the truth that schools often don't teach you and society rarely tells you: failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is the training ground for success. It is the teacher that no one wants to listen to, but everyone eventually learns from. When you fail at something, the world wants you to believe it is the end. You hear the whispers of doubt in your mind. You feel the sting of embarrassment. And sometimes you even see people around you nodding silently, as if to say, "I knew you couldn't do it." That moment can feel crushing. It can make you want to run away and never try again. But what separates the people who rise from the people who remain stuck is not talent, not intelligence, not even resources. It is how they interpret that failure. Some people look at failure and see shame. Others look at failure and see feedback. And those who see feedback are the ones who eventually win. Because every failure carries within it a lesson, a hidden piece of wisdom that cannot be learned from books or theories. You learn it only by living through it. Think about how you learned to walk as a child. You fell many times, you cried, you got hurt, but you didn't stop. Why? Because you didn't see falling as failure. You saw it as part of learning. You didn't give up on walking because you tripped. Yet as adults, when we trip in life, fail an exam, lose money in a business, get rejected by someone, we suddenly forget this simple truth and label ourselves as failures. But failure doesn't define you, it refines you. It burns away arrogance, it teaches humility, and it opens your eyes to what doesn't work so you can find what does. Some of the most successful people in history have a long list of failures before they had even one major success. They were rejected, doubted, laughed at, even told they would never make it, but they treated failure like a classroom instead of a graveyard. When you adopt this mindset, something powerful happens. You stop fearing failure because you realize it is not the end. It is information. It is life's way of saying, this path didn't work. Try another one. And the more you fail, the wiser you become, because each failure teaches you something about yourself, about the world, and about the process of achieving your dreams. What most people call failure is often the turning point that redirects them towards something far better than they originally planned. But you only discover that if you keep going. If you let failure make you bitter, you stop. If you let failure make you better, you grow. Every failure has two doors. One leads to quitting, the other leads to learning. The choice is always yours. One of the greatest mistakes people make in life is expecting success to happen overnight. They want the result without the process, the harvest without the planting, the victory without the battle. And when things don't happen as quickly as they hoped, they lose motivation, quit too soon, and tell themselves maybe success just isn't for them. But the truth is, nothing meaningful grows in a day. Every dream, every goal, every transformation you want in life takes time. That is why you must learn to think long-term while acting with discipline today. When you look at people who have built amazing lives, whether in business, personal growth, health, or relationships, you will find one thing in common. They were willing to be patient with the results, but impatient with their daily actions. They understood that greatness is not built in sudden explosions of effort, but in small, consistent steps taken over time. It's like planting a seed. You put it in the ground, water it, protect it, give it sunlight, and then you wait. No matter how much you want it to grow faster, nature has its own timetable. If you dig up the seed every day to check its progress, you kill it. Life works the same way. People fail because they either do nothing at all, or they demand results before the process has time to work. They start a goal, and when they don't see instant progress, they get discouraged and quit. But long-term thinkers know that the work you do today may not pay you tomorrow, but it is building a foundation that will hold your future success. They understand the compound effect, how small efforts done daily multiply into massive results over time. Think about learning a skill. If you practice for 10 hours in one day and then stop for a month, you won't master anything. But if you practice 30 minutes a day for a year, you will improve dramatically. Why? Because consistency beats intensity every single time. The mind, the body, and even life itself reward those who stay in the game long enough for success to show up. And this mindset brings peace. When you think long-term, you don't panic when things are slow. You don't compare your journey to others because you understand everyone has a different timeline. You focus on planting, watering, and nurturing your dreams every day, knowing that when the season is right, the harvest will come. The danger of short-term thinking is that it makes you chase quick wins that rarely last. People jump from one thing to another, always looking for the fastest way, the shortcut, the easy option. But shortcuts often lead to dead ends. Long-term thinkers, on the other hand, build habits, systems, and character. They understand that who you become while pursuing the goal is just as important as the goal itself. When you focus on acting today, while keeping your eyes on the bigger picture, you begin to make wiser decisions. You stop wasting time on distractions because you know where you are going. You stop seeking instant gratification because you value lasting growth over temporary comfort. This way of thinking separates dreamers from achievers because success is never about what you wish for. It is about what you work for, day after day, even when no one is watching, even when the results are not yet visible. Change is one of the few guarantees in life. The world around you is constantly moving. Technology evolves, industries transform. People come and go, opportunities rise and disappear. Yet so many people resist change as if holding on tightly to the past will somehow protect them from the future. They want life to stay predictable, safe, and familiar even when deep down they know nothing ever grows in comfort zones. The truth is, the more you fight change, the more painful it becomes. But when you learn to adapt, to flow with life instead of against it, You turn what seems like chaos into a path forward. Think about how quickly the world can shift. One invention, one trend, one global event can completely alter the way we live, work, and communicate. The people who survive and thrive in such times are not always the strongest or the smartest. They are the ones willing to adjust, to unlearn old ways and embrace new ones. They understand that change is not their enemy. It is simply life inviting them to grow. When you refuse to adapt, you stay stuck in patterns that no longer serve you. Imagine someone who keeps using the same methods in business while the entire industry moves online. At first, they might feel comfortable telling themselves, "This is how we've always done it." But slowly, they fall behind. They lose customers, opportunities, relevance, all because they chose familiarity over flexibility. Life rewards those who pay attention, those who are humble enough to say, "Maybe there is a better way. Maybe I need to learn something new." Adapting does not mean you abandon your values or dreams. It means you stay open to different paths that can lead you there. Sometimes the road you planned will be blocked. The door you were knocking on will stay closed. The opportunity you thought was guaranteed will disappear. If you keep clinging to what is gone, you will miss what is coming. But if you open your mind, you might discover an even better path waiting for you. Many people fear change because it feels uncertain. They want guarantees before they take the next step. But life rarely gives guarantees. It gives you moments, chances, and choices. Adaptable people trust themselves to handle whatever comes next. They know they may not control everything, but they can control how they respond. And that response, calm, curious, and courageous, often determines whether the change breaks them or builds them. Learning to adapt also means learning to learn. The world today belongs to those who stay curious, who keep upgrading their knowledge, their skills, their mindset. The moment you think you know enough, you stop growing. But when you stay teachable, change becomes exciting instead of frightening, because you see it as a chance to discover, to improve, to reinvent yourself if necessary. There are countless stories of people who lost jobs but found new careers, who faced rejection but discovered talents they never knew they had, who watched doors close only to find better ones opening later. None of that would have been possible if they had resisted change. They embraced it even when it was uncomfortable, because they knew life only moves forward. The key is to stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "How can I grow through this?" That shift in mindset turns change from a threat into a teacher, from something you fear into something you can use. No matter how talented, intelligent, or ambitious you are, there is a limit to what you can achieve alone. Life is not designed for isolation. Every dream, every success story, every breakthrough in history has one thing in common: people. The people you surround yourself with can either lift you higher than you ever imagined or quietly hold you back without you even realizing it. That is why learning to value people in relationships is not just good advice. It is the foundation of a fulfilling and meaningful life. Look around you. Every invention, every business, every movement that changed the world came from people working together. Even the most legendary figures, the ones we admire for their courage and genius, had teams, mentors, friends, or partners who supported them, challenged them, and sometimes carried them through difficult times. Success may look like a solo journey from the outside, but behind the scenes, it is always a team effort. But here's the thing many people miss: building meaningful relationships is not about using people to get what you want. It is about growing together, about creating an environment where everyone rises, where everyone contributes, where everyone feels valued. Too often, people treat relationships as transactions. Help me, support me, give me. But the most powerful relationships are built on giving first, on listening, on genuinely caring about others. There will be moments in your life when you feel lost, when challenges become overwhelming, when you doubt yourself. In those moments, the people you have built real connections with will remind you of your strength. They will speak belief into you when your own voice is shaking. They will open doors for you that you didn't even know existed. Sometimes one conversation with the right person can change the entire direction of your life. But relationships also require wisdom. Not everyone around you will have the right energy, the right mindset, or the right intentions. Some people will drain you, fill you with doubt, or keep you small because they are afraid of growth themselves. This is why you must choose carefully who you allow into your inner circle. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to dream bigger, who celebrate your wins without envy, who tell you the truth even when it's hard to hear, because they want to see you become better, not bitter. And never underestimate the power of encouragement. A kind word, a helping hand, a moment of empathy. These things can change someone's day or even their life. Too often we think making an impact requires money or status, but sometimes it's as simple as believing in someone before they believe in themselves. The world is full of critics. What it needs more of are people who lift others up. When you learn to value relationships, you stop seeing people as competitors and start seeing them as collaborators. You realize there is enough success to go around, that helping someone else rise does not diminish your own potential. It multiplies it. Because in the end, the relationships you build often outlast the achievements you chase. Success feels empty when you have no one to share it with, no one to cheer with you when the victories come, no one to lean on when life gets heavy. This is why the richest people in life are not the ones with the most money, but the ones with the deepest connections. The ones surrounded by people who genuinely care, who show up, who remind them of what truly matters when the noise of the world becomes too loud. One of the greatest differences between those who rise in life and those who remain stuck is how they approach problems. Most people see problems as walls blocking their path, and the moment they hit one, they stop moving. They complain, blame circumstances, and feel life is unfair. But there is another group of people, the problem solvers, who look at the same wall and ask, how can I climb it, break through it, or build a door in it? The problem is the same, yet the response is completely different. And that response often determines the outcome of their entire lives. The truth is, life will never be free of problems. No matter how successful you become, there will always be challenges. But the people who thrive are not the ones with the easiest lives. They are the ones who learn to think differently when difficulties appear. They train their minds to focus on solutions instead of endlessly repeating the problem. Think about this. Two people lose their jobs on the same day. One sits at home angry, telling everyone how unfair the company was, how the economy is collapsing, how nothing ever works out. The other feels the same disappointment, but then starts asking different questions. What skills can I learn now? What opportunities are out there? How can I turn this setback into a fresh start? A few months later, the second person has a new career, maybe even a better one than before, while the first is still stuck in bitterness. The difference wasn't the problem, it was the mindset. A problem-solving mindset requires three powerful shifts. First, you must learn to stay calm when challenges appear. Panic never produces solutions. When your mind is full of fear, anger, or frustration, you can't see clearly. But when you take a breath, step back, and look at the problem with a clear head, ideas begin to emerge. Second, you must become curious instead of judgmental. Many people waste time asking, why now? While problem solvers ask, what can I do about it? What options haven't I explored yet? Curiosity opens doors because it forces you to think beyond the obvious. Some of the greatest inventions and breakthroughs in history came from people who refused to accept a problem as permanent. They kept experimenting, kept asking questions, kept believing there was a way forward. Third, you must be willing to act. Some people think endlessly about solutions but never try anything because they fear making the wrong move. Problem solvers understand that progress comes from action, even imperfect action. They test, learn, adjust, and keep moving until something works. And here's the secret: the world rewards problem solvers. Employers promote them. Businesses thrive because of them. Communities respect them. Because while others are complaining, problem solvers are creating change. They become leaders not by title but by mindset, because people naturally follow those who bring clarity in chaos, hope in difficulty, and answers when everyone else only sees obstacles. When you develop this mindset, you stop seeing problems as threats to your success. You start seeing them as opportunities to grow, to innovate, to become stronger and more resourceful. Life stops feeling like it's happening to you and starts feeling like it's happening for you, because every challenge becomes a chance to rise higher than before. One of the hardest lessons in life is realizing that your journey will never look like anyone else's. From childhood, society trains us to compare grades in school, jobs, salaries, lifestyles, even happiness. You see someone your age starting a business, another buying a house, someone else traveling the world, and deep inside, you begin to wonder if you are falling behind. That constant pressure to measure yourself against others can quietly crush your confidence and blur your sense of direction. But here is the truth: life is not a race, and it certainly isn't a competition. You have your own path, your own timeline, your own purpose. And the sooner you believe in it, the sooner you will find peace and fulfillment. Comparison is a thief of joy because it forces you to ignore your own progress. You forget how far you have come because you are too busy staring at someone else's highlight reel. But what you don't see are the struggles behind their success, the sacrifices behind their achievements, the silent battles they fought when no one was watching. Every person is carrying their own challenges, their own doubts, their own failures that rarely make it to the public eye. So why waste time comparing your behind the scenes with someone else's final cut? Believing in your unique path means trusting the process, even when it doesn't make sense. It means understanding that every delay, every detour, every closed door might be shaping you for something bigger than what you planned. Sometimes life takes you through unfamiliar roads, not to punish you, but to prepare you, to teach you patience, to develop your character, to make you ready for the moment when the opportunity finally arrives. And here's something powerful to remember: not everyone will understand your journey. Some people will doubt you. Others will criticize you. Many will tell you to be realistic, to play it safe, to follow the same path everyone else is taking. But if you keep listening to those voices, you will shrink your dreams to fit their expectations. You will live a life designed by fear instead of one driven by purpose. The people who achieve extraordinary things are rarely the ones who followed the crowd. They were the ones who believed in their vision when no one else could see it. They walked alone if they had to. They stayed true to their calling, even when the results were slow, even when others laughed, even when quitting seemed easier than continuing. Believing in your unique path is not arrogance, it is courage. It is the courage to say, I may not have it all figured out yet, but I trust that my journey matters. I trust that what I'm building, learning, and becoming will lead somewhere meaningful. Because life is not about moving faster than others. It is about moving in the right direction for you. So if you feel behind, remember this: there is no universal timeline for success. Some people achieve things at 20, others at 40, some at 60. What matters is not when it happens, but whether you stayed true to yourself along the way. Your path will unfold at its own pace. And as long as you keep walking, keep learning, and keep believing, life has a way of leading you exactly where you are meant to be. And when that moment comes, when everything finally connects, you will realize it was your unique path, with all its twists and turns, that shaped you into the person you were always meant to become.